Being a child actor can be pretty rough. From domineering parents to exploring the darker side of Hollywood to being held responsible in part for the success of movies with huge budgets, it can be a scary world being a child in Hollywood. It's also not uncommon to see directors pushing the boundaries of what young actors could and should be allowed to do in the movies. This can be to make the audience uncomfortable or for a variety of other reasons. Here's our list of 10 child actors who played shockingly mature roles. Before we get started though, make sure to subscribe to CBR for cool videos about movies, TV, comics, gaming, and all sorts of other cool stuff. Natalie Portman, Leon. Nowadays, Natalie Portman is probably best known for her appearance in the Star Wars prequels and for her Oscar-winning role in The Black Swan, but way back in 1994, she was known for a French movie called Leon the Professional, starring alongside Jean Reno and Gary Oldman in a role frequently cited as one of the best movie villains ever. Natalie Portman plays a young girl with a very uncomfortable relationship with Reno, who begins to teach her how to be an assassin. The role stirred up a lot of controversy at the time for depicting a young girl wielding guns. Safety was paramount, however, as Natalie Portman was taught how to correctly handle and load a gun to ensure that there were no accidents on set. It was also controversial for Portman's portrayal of a preternatural adult/child, a young kid pretending the role of wife and daughter in a family of assassins. The theatrical cut of the movie also removed around 20 minutes of footage, some of which contained Portman's character attempting to get a kiss out of Jean Reno, and other uncomfortable scenes that American audiences apparently just weren't ready for. Haley Joel Osment, The Sixth Sense, and AI Artificial Intelligence. In the role that to this day is his most iconic, Haley Joel Osment saw dead people in the film Sixth Sense. While Haley Joel Osment now largely does smaller budget independent films such as Tusk and Me, Him, Her, there was a time when you could regularly see him in big Hollywood productions. Haley Joel Osment's role in The Sixth Sense and his role in AI had him dealing with a lot of dark themes such as loss and abandonment. While The Sixth Sense is his most iconic in terms of the macabre concept of a child seeing ghosts all the time, AI had him rolling around with a robotic sex worker by the name of Gigolo Joe. What set Haley out from other child actors at the time was that he could turn in a stellar performance in spite of his age, especially when working with a director like Steven Spielberg, who specializes in getting great performances out of children. Dakota Fanning, Hound Dog. The roles that Dakota Fanning has taken on make Chloe Grace Moretz in Equalizer look tame. When your role in the apocalyptic Spielberg disaster movie War of the Worlds is one of your tamer ones, you know you've done some pretty dark material. Dakota Fanning's role in Hound Dog is now infamous for the scene in which 12-year-old Dakota Fanning is raped. The scene was so shocking that despite critics like Roger Ebert giving the movie praise, Hound Dog still stands at only 15% on Rotten Tomatoes. Despite the vicious violence of the scene, Fanning does not seem to regret it, nor have been negatively affected by it. In fact, she was pretty angry at the response that the scene got, particularly because most of the criticisms were being aimed not at the director or the screenwriter, but to her mother for allowing her to appear in the scene. Jodie Foster, Taxi Driver. Without Jodie Foster in Taxi Driver, we probably would never have seen Chloe Grace Moretz in The Equalizer. The Martin Scorsese classic starred Jodie Foster opposite Robert De Niro as Iris Steensma, a child sex worker who the ever-unpredictable Travis Bickle is trying to protect. Despite her being iconic in the role, Jodie Foster was not the first choice. The role was originally considered for girls such as Linda Blair, Bo Derek, and Carrie Fisher, but ultimately they all turned it down. Only Jodie Foster was willing to take on such a risky role. The role of Iris, alongside her bizarre role as Tallulah in the Kids with Guns Mafia movie Bugsy Malone, launched the actress into superstardom. Ryan Gosling, Are You Afraid of the Dark? We need to lighten the tone a bit after so many scenes linked to child abuse. Ryan Gosling may not have had the dark roles that Dakota Fanning or Haley Joel Osment have had, but he did appear in episodes of both Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of the Dark. While not exactly horror, when you're a kid watching these shows, they were surprisingly scary. I can vouch for that. Ryan Gosling first appeared in The Tale of Station 109.1, a story about a creepy radio station. It was one of Ryan Gosling's earliest roles and is the darkest thing he ever did as a child. While not scary by any adult standard, it was a pretty cool role for a kid to take. Since then, Ryan Gosling has matured greatly as an actor, appearing in largely crime and detective movies such as The Nice Guys, Only God Forgives, Drive, and Blade Runner 2049. Being one of the better actors around today, it's funny that it all started with one role on a kids' TV show years ago. Linda Blair, The Exorcist. Frequently cited as one of the greatest movies of all time, William Friedkin's horror classic revolves around the demonic possession and exorcism of a 12-year-old girl, and the story of the troubled priest who performs the exorcism. Linda Blair's performance in the movie was as captivating as it was horrifying, causing some audience members to faint and others to leave outright. It was shocking to see such a young girl use such foul language and doing such disturbing things. Blair comes across as both tortured and scared as Regan, as well as being downright terrifying as the demon Pazuzu. While Mercedes McCambridge performed the voice of Pazuzu, the physical acting is all Blair, and she's very intimidating. Friedkin wanted to get smaller actors in the role so that the audience wouldn't be distracted by the stars. Friedkin famously rejected Marlon Brando in the role of Father Merrin to prevent the movie from becoming a Brando movie, and picked Linda Blair not only for her great performance, but because she was an unknown who could disappear in the role. Having been banned and recut for theatrical releases many times, The Exorcist has by far the greatest and darkest child performance of all. Drew Barrymore, Poison Ivy. Drew Barrymore is an actress that had a lot of trouble with alcohol and drugs throughout her youth, so it's not surprising that the goddaughter of Steven Spielberg would try to shed her good girl persona in the 1992 movie Poison Ivy. Barrymore played Ivy, a dark, violent, and sexually promiscuous teenage girl willing to murder to get her way. Barrymore, who was only 17 at the time, had also appeared in new photo shoots around the same time and was making quite the uproar. This proved to be only the first of many raunchier roles that Drew Barrymore played at a relatively young age. While she was far from a child, she was not legal in most states in America, which led to a predictable parental outcry about decency. Some claimed that she used a body double, which has never been confirmed. What we do know is that the movie caused enough of a stir to have both an R-rated and unrated cut. The R-rated cut removed scenes such as the kiss between the two lead women, as well as multiple, admittedly tame sex scenes. Millie Bobby Brown, Stranger Things. One of the main praises of the Netflix TV series Stranger Things was that in addition to capturing the feel and cinematography of 80s movies, its child actors were actually able to turn in stellar performances that are very rare in modern cinema and TV. Millie Bobby Brown's role as the gifted child 11 was definitely the standout role in the series. The young actress played a powerful, complex, but ultimately emotionally vulnerable character that captured the hearts of millions of watchers around the globe. Brown had to be able to play a character that was not only mentally tortured, but also mentally scarred from the actions that she performed in Rage. This was not the only dark show that Brown performed in, though. She also garnered acclaim for her role in Intruders, a crime TV show in which she turned in a performance so good that it even attracted the attention of Stephen King himself. Chloe Grace Moretz, The Equalizer. Moretz is one of the few young actors that have largely avoided the more childish roles that you'd expect them to take. While she did appear in Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Moretz has largely been known for her more serious roles. It started with Kick-Ass, in which she played a foul-mouthed, murderous child in the form of Hit Girl, but despite it being her most famous, it's probably not her darkest role. Outside of appearing in the unpopular remake of Carrie, Moretz's darkest role to date was probably her part in The Equalizer starring Denzel Washington. The neo-noir crime movie put her in the role of a young teenage sex worker. While she was certainly not a child actor at this point, Moretz was certainly young enough to make the audience feel really uncomfortable with her character. Christian Bale, Empire of the Sun. Christian Bale isn't someone that usually comes to mind when you think of child actors. It's a lot more likely you'll think of him more as Batman or even American Psycho. Despite this, Bale was in movies as far back as the 80s, appearing in both the musical Newsies and Empire of the Sun, the 1987 Steven Spielberg picture based on the book of the same name. Empire of the Sun follows Bale as a schoolboy who winds up in a Japanese internment camp during World War II. Spielberg, who as we've mentioned is well known for his work with children, cast a 12-year-old Christian Bale who knocked it out of the park. Even at a young age, Bale was a very dedicated actor, and while he thankfully didn't go quite to kill yourself extremes like he did in The Machinist and The Fighter, he was praised greatly for having such empathy for an extreme situation. So, anything we missed out? If so, leave us a comment and let us know. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up and check out the rest of our channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to CBR for cool videos about movies, action heroes, gaming, comics, and way more.